Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Today we're doing Daf Kuf Zayin 107 in Maseches Kesubos. Let's start from the bottom of Kuf Am Beis, the last three words. Itmar Rav Amar. Rav says, the top of Kuf Zayin and Aleph, post Kamazonos to Ish. The woman, her husband goes away, goes overseas. You would give her a mizonah. She comes to the base and she has nothing in the house to eat. The husband is obligated to feed his wife. We don't know that he died. We'll see. We don't know that he died yet. So you give food. Shmuel Amar ein post kamazonos ish. You don't give kamazonos ish. We'll see how this really is not exactly the machlokas we had in the Mishnah in the beginning of the parak. Amar Shmuel. Shmuel says Modeli Abba Rav, who's called Abba. The first 3 months after he leaves, even Rav agrees that she's not entitled to mazonos, even if she would take a shvuah, because a person doesn't leave his house empty without food. There's food in the pantry for 3 months. Another instance where they don't argue is if they hear that the husband died. If the husband died, even Shmuel would agree that she would be entitled to mazonos. We'll see. I'll have to explain this more in Egan Ben Sion. Kipligi, where do they argue? They haven't heard the husband died. He's away in the Bahamas. We don't know where he is. Rav Marposkin, he owes her, even if he didn't die, right? He owes her mazonos. It's one of the parts of the Kesubos. He owes her mazonos. Shmuel Poskin, he doesn't have an obligation to give her mazonos. My time. So it's a suffix, right? Maybe he gave her money. He put cash into her pocketbook before he left to pay for mazonos. She's not telling us. Rav Papa Amar. And therefore, we don't even believe her with a shua. One of the options the husband has, he has to guarantee her mazonos. Maybe he said to her, she owes him her wages, so he can make a deal with her and he say, okay, I'm not giving you mazonos. Instead, feed yourself, but keep your wages and feed yourself. He has the right to do that. So, therefore, maybe he said that, and that's why she's not entitled to mazonos. She can't collect. My benai. What's the practical difference between these two reasons? If she's a gdola, she's an older woman, right? An older woman, who's a mature woman, right? Where she can earn reasonable wages, right? So then, if she can earn reasonable wages, so then the reason of simaisi dechan would apply. However, lo safka, but she doesn't have enough, she can't produce enough, so therefore, let's get back. A Gdola, an older woman, it's more likely that he gave to a more mature woman, he put money in her purse, She doesn't have enough mazonos, her wages don't equal the amount that she would need for mazonos, so therefore even if he would claim, or we would claim for him, that he made a statement there, it will make a difference. She doesn't have enough, so he can't say, when she's not earning enough, she's not able to get a job. A second a young girl usually doesn't leave money with her. So for that reason, we're concerned with Safka. However, if she's earning enough money, she has a great job. I don't know if it's like Tana under 12, maybe she's 15 years old, she has a great job. 18 years old, Safka, she has enough money. So then, for the reason of you could say, your wages pay for your food. Tnan. Mishnah says in the beginning of our parak, he goes overseas. She's demanding mazonos from Beis Din. Chanan Omer, she says, Chanan says she takes a shvuah only on the mazonos when she collects her ksuva, but not every time she collects mazonos. The Chachamim basically, even when she's away and she collects mazonos, she has to swear that he didn't give her any money. They only argue, I think, a shvuah. Provided that she takes a shvuah. Everyone agrees, even the Chachamim agree, right? Even though you have to take a shvuah according to the Chachamim, you give her mazonos. Shmuel answers, no, our mission is talking about where there's witnesses that heard that he died. There's a rumor going around that the husband died. And like he said, we'll explain more in Egan Ben Sion why if he died, then she could collect mazonos according to Shmuel. Tashma. It's basically a brisa, which basically is a repetition of our Mishnah. She takes a shvuah and gets mazonos. If he comes back and he says, I gave her mazonos neman, meaning even though she technically was able to collect, right, with a shvuah according to Bnei Kohanim Gedolim, if he comes back and says, I gave her mazonos, she was lying, and he takes a shvuah, so he's believed she has to return the money. So the Gemara answers, Hakanam Shmuel Shemei. Shmuel says this price is also talking about where the reason we gave him mizonos, right? It says you give him mizonos because there were witnesses that heard that he died. The Gemara says, V'ha'im ba v'amar ka'amar. The end of the Bryson says, if he comes back, obviously he didn't die. So the Gemara says, in ba la'achar shmua. Really, there was a rumor going around, and the rumor proved false, and that's why he came back. Tashma. He goes overseas. Each of us mizonos. She's demanding sustenance. Right? He comes back and he says, no, I told her before I left that she should keep her wages and feed herself with her own wages. Rashai, we believe him. Kadmu based in Upasku, if based in before he came back, gave her mizonos, Masha Pasku. Whatever they gave her, she gets to keep. So you see that the Basin's allowed to give him mizonos when he's away. So Shmuel again answers, here again, this Bryce was talking about where Basin heard that he had died. Tashma, another attempt to disprove Shmuel. Each of us Basin Yordan Chazav. Basin go down into his estate. Zanim Farsin Ishto, they give parnasa, food and clothes to his wife, Velo Banav Venosav, but not for his children. Velo Davar Achar, not for something else. We'll see in a second what this something else is. Amar Sheshes, what is this talking about? How do we answer for Shmuel? They give her mizonos, but Mashra as Yishal Yidei Shlish. Here it's talking about another exception to Shmuel. If he sets up a third party, right, an escrow account for his wife, so therefore, since he set up this other account for his wife, so therefore, that's why we're zanin yodin lechasav. You go into his possessions, right, and therefore she's entitled to mizonos because he already set someone else to give it to her. If it's true that he set up an account, why don't we give to his children? The answer is the Bryce is talking about he said to the shlish, to this third party, give money to my wife, but not to my children. Mar says, my psaka. Why are we talking about a case, right? Why do we assume it's talking about a case where he permitted for one, not the other? Usually we do it for both or for neither. We're talking about, this case is talking about where one witness testifies the husband died. He, by the wife, she's allowed to get remarried with one aid. Matzi minsaba, she can get remarried. Therefore, since she can move on, there's a way for the Eid Echad to help her move on in life. So therefore, we believe the Eid Echad also to give her mazonas. Right? They can't get possession of their father's estate, right? The Yerusha, you need to aid them. Mazoni namely avinalas, therefore they have no access even to the mazonos. My davar acher. So the Gemara digresses to discuss what is in the Brisa means by davar acher. What is davar acher that we don't give? This says you don't give her jewelry, you don't give her perfumes. Rabbi Yosef Amar Tzedakah. Rabbi Yosef says you don't give her the ability to give charity to other people, to be philanthropist. My davar tachshit. One that says she doesn't have the ability to get perfumes and jewelry. Kol shekain tzedakah. Certainly, we don't entitle her tzedakah. Tzedakah is a nice thing to be able to give tzedakah, but tachshit is more important. My davar tzedakah. Well, tachshit yavin la topic was a kov zayim at base. Tachshit you do give her lo nichal the tinavel. We'd assume normally a husband would not want his wife to look bad, to not have makeup on, to not smell good, and to not have fine jewelry, which makes a woman feel and look beautiful. Tashma hayom gimel chadashim rishonim. We're still trying to bring proofs to decide this machlokas between Rav and Shmuel. Yavama, last masechta, gimel chadashim rishonim. Her husband dies. She's waiting. She's shomeres yavam. She's waiting for the yavam to make a move to chalitza yibum. So the first 3 months after her husband died, Nizonos Michelle Baila, she gets Mizonos from her husband, her deceased husband. Even if he delays doing Yibum for more than 3 months, she's not entitled to Mizonos from anyone. Amad B'dinu Baruch, right? She brought him to court. She wanted him to make a decision, do Yibum or Chalitza, and he ran away. Nizonos Michelle Yavam. Then even after 3 months, she gets fed from the estate of the Yavam. Amar Lacha. So you see what? If he left, he's not around. You give her Mizonos. Shmuel would say this case is different. Right? The reason that the Yavam has to feed her if he runs away, because we don't assume he gave her money in her pocket. But they're not even married. He's not familiar with her. They don't have a close relationship. The reason is the Yavam can say, take your wages and pay for your food. She's not obligated. They didn't do Yibam. She's not obligated to give him Ma'aseh Yadayim. So therefore, he can't say, see Ma'aseh Yadayim. he has to give her. He ran away, so he has to give him mazonos. He can't say, take your wages and pay for yourself. Tashma, Isha Shahalcha Hiu Ba'ilin Asayam. She and her husband went overseas together. Basma Amra, she comes back by herself and she says, Meis Baili. Her husband died. Ratzon is zonas, Ratza go back to now she's entitled either to be an almana and stay in his house and get mizonos, or she can cut her ksuva and leave the house. Gershani Baili, she comes back and says, my husband divorced me overseas. We give her mizonos, and every time we give her mizonos, we deduct it from her ksuva until the ksuva runs out, and then we don't give her anything anymore. So you see, anyway, in both of these cases, right, especially it's a grusha, right, you give her mizonos, the husband's not here, right? In the case of Meis Baili, so he died, so Shmuel's mode in that case. But in the case where Gershani, the husband's still alive, he didn't come back. He says, oh, still overseas, we give her mizonos. So how could it be according to Shmuel? Here also, right, she testified there was a gerushin, and then we heard that after the gerushin, he died. Why does she only get mizonos and every time we deduct it until her ksuva runs out? Why doesn't we give her mazonos forever and then collect her ksuva separately? Because she claimed that she's migureshes, so once she's migureshes, so only an almana gets to be continuously fed from her husband's estate. Once she states that she's migureshes, so therefore she's only entitled to ksuba, so every mazonos are deducted from her ksuba until it runs out. Tashma kesad amru menes ein mazonos. They said that a menes, a young girl, gets married midrabanan to a man, she's a ketana. She doesn't, right? They said somewhere she doesn't get mazonos. Even when you're married midrabanan, the husband is obligated midrabanan to give her mazonos. One must be talking about she was married as a ketana, and her husband went overseas. She borrowed money. She used it to feed herself. And then she did miyun. She rejected her husband before she became Agdola, time of the miyana. The reason she's not entitled to mazonos is because she did miyun. Halo miyana, if she didn't do miyun, yavinanla. The husband went away and she borrowed money, or even if she didn't borrow money, when he comes to base din, she'd get. Amar Lacha Shmuel, what would Shmuel answer? By a miyun, by a ketana, also there's no reason to be concerned. Normally, under normal circumstances, a man would not trust a ketana to have money in her pocketbook. She'll lose her pocketbook. If it's because of Ma'aseh, you can say your wages, take your wages and pay for your own food. Ketana l'savka, you normally a ketana, she's under 12 years old, she's probably not going to be able to earn too much money. A cup of lemonade for $1 is not going to be able to feed her. My heavy Allah, what is the resolution to this machlokas? What do we paskin? Rav and Shmuel. A case came in front of Rebbe in Beis Sharim, Meir Sharim. Pasuk Lamazonos, he gave her mazonos. Later, Rebbe Shmuel b'Sipuri, v'lo pasuk Lamazonos. He didn't give this wife whose husband was overseas. He didn't give her mazonos. Tei bar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan heard about this psak of Rabbi Shmuel. He was in bewilderment. Chima ra Rabbi Shmuel shelo pasuk mazonos. Normally, pasuk like Rav, we should pasuk like Rav. Your mazonos. It seems to be. We're saying according to Shmuel, you have to answer all these brises talking about where they heard she died, where they heard that he died. Or it's the simple explanation of the brise like Rav. So the Gemara he says further, our mission at the beginning of the parak says, they only argue whether they take a shvuah when you collect mazonos. Even the Bnei Kohanim Gedolim say you give her, if she takes a shvuah, you give her mazonos. Rav Shaman Barabba, he says all these mishnayos and brises are talking about where he heard, where Beis Din heard that he died. Amar Lei, Rabbi Yochanan said back, it's not a good answer. You're going to give an okimta, right? We don't let them make an okimta. Say, these mishnayos and brises are talking about when they heard he died. You're going to give such an answer. It's a dachak answer. It's a forced answer. It's not really, it doesn't sound like the truth. Kiyasa Rav, when Ravin came, Amar from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel, Amar Ma'is Bali Pnei Rebbe Beis Sha'arim V'lo Pasuk Mazonos. He said he reported the opposite. Right, Rebbe didn't give her mazonos. Pnei Rabbi Shmuel B'Tzipori Pasuk Mazonos. He gave her mazonos. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Maroi Rebbe. He was bewilderment over Rebbe. Shelo Pasuk Allah. The Halo Nechlu Kananam Nekanim Dolan Elin Shvuah Al Mazonos Yavino. Everyone agrees if she takes a shvuah, you get mazonos. Amar Le Rosham Barabba. Kvar Tzergim Shmuel Abava Sham Boshem Meis. The brises of the Mishnayos were talking about where he died. Amar Le, again, he said, Pasrisu Bakula Yahai. You're going to give such an okimta, such suggestion that we're talking about only a specific case. Doesn't sound like that. Hilchas Zakavasi, the Rav, they're going to pass the Lacha follows. The Rav, the Poskim Mazonos Elisha. She's married. She does get mazonos when her husband goes overseas. Hilchas Zakavasi, the Rav Huna, Amarav, another psak halacha, halacha v'al Rav, Amarav hun Amarav, Yichol ish tomar l'bayla any zonos or any oseh. Right? We learned a husband can tell his wife, "I don't want to give you mazonos. Take your wages and pay for your food." Likewise, Rav Amarav says that a woman can tell her husband, "I want to keep my wages and I won't be fed." I don't know if we pass like this. There's no ein mishpat on this halacha. Any oseh v'hilchas the razvid b'kunya. A third psak halacha, this is not related to our sugya, even to Mizachas Kesubos, talking about a sugya in Mizachas Avodah Zarah. The Amar of Zvid Hani Mani de Kunya. You have earthenware vessels that get a blia, they get non-kosher food gets cooked in them, they become asur forever. However, let's say they're coated with lead, all right? They're coated like lead. What is it called? These dishes, corel. What is it called? The dish is coated with glass. They're called the C something. So let's say it was coated with lead. If they're white earthenware or black earthenware, sharui, because then they're very strong earthenware. So therefore you have protection of lead. So then it's not boleya the isser. It doesn't get into the actual earthenware. Yeroki asir, you have its green earthenware. I guess it would be like tan or beige earthenware. So then it becomes asur because it's not strong enough to hold back the blia. Long run. Ela delays kartuf. You only see a black and white kalim that it's not boleya when there's no cracks in the earthenware. Well, isba kartuf ne asiri. If there are cracks, then it will be usher in either case. That's the reason of today's shir. Hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for Ian with Ben Sina. We'll discuss what is the difference. Why is Shmuel say, right? He answers when we heard the husband died, all of a sudden she's entitled to mazonas. Why are we choshesh like Shmuel says? In that case, also, maybe he put money in her pocketbook, or maybe when before he died, he said to her, "See my Stay tuned for Ian with Ben Sion coming up next."